150 years of trading as a globally priced financial asset, gold has broken the $5,000 level for the first time ever. Now, the precious metal outperforming the major averages last year and so far this year as well. It also broke above the 5,000 level before Ether. A $35 trillion market cap takes gold and silver fittingly 1 and 2 as the world's most valuable asset classes, but a significant chunk of the future of gold trading could occur on blockchain thanks to tokenization. Now, Tether has a tokenized asset called Tether Gold, which represents ownership of physical gold stored in Swiss vaults. And Tether announced yesterday that it added around 27 metric tons of gold last quarter. Well, joining me to weigh in this morning is Björn Schmidtke, who is the CEO of Aurelion. Björn, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, gold does continue to soar through technical levels and is holding above the $5,000 level. So what's behind the surge in prices? And do you agree with the debasement trade narrative?
Remy, good to be here. And yes, absolutely. I think we see the debasement trade in full flow. I think this is really what is behind this. I think, there are two things that are really driving this in my view. The macroeconomic environment is such that I think countries just started to realize, hey, we maybe want to own in our treasury something else, not just T-bills, and they start to look at gold again. I think Tether is yet another very good example of this. And then, of course, I think the last year has shown that the debasement is real. It's going to happen. It is happening. I think it's the biggest trade of our lifetime. And of course, it's Bitcoin that profits from this. But even more than Bitcoin, I think it's gold that is profiting from it and will profit from it.
Well, it's really interesting because those who disagree with the debasement trade narrative say central banks are switching from decades of net gold selling to consistent net buying. But while we keep an eye on treasury ownership figures, tell us about Tether Gold and why you have embraced it as a treasury reserve asset.
Yes, so Tether is really like a very unique way of owning gold. It's a very innovative way, and it fixes some of the historic problems that gold had, which made it very intransparent as an asset. So Tether publicly announced that they want to reintroduce gold as a medium of exchange. It's one of the best ways to own gold, in my opinion. It is stored in Switzerland in a vault. They actually take full delivery of the bars. They have 400 ounce. LBMA, good delivery standard bars there, fully allocated, and you can actually even redeem it. So if you want to opt out of the crypto for some reason, you want to actually take delivery of the bar, you can do that. You can swap your XAUT 1-to-1 for the underlying gold bar. So very new and unique way that hasn't been there before, and I expect that Tether Gold will grow rapidly. I see that digital gold could be 10% of gold's market cap. That would make it a multi-trillion-dollar asset by itself, and I think we will see a very rapid adoption going forward.
Yeah, and as gold hits all-time highs, there's also growing interest in tokenized bullion, which is designed to track the precious metals price closely. So how do you see tokenization transforming access and also affecting trading of the precious metal?
I think tokenization really, fixes gold to some extent. That gold has been such a old asset, right? We all can agree that gold is valuable for 5,000 years. Even the people that maybe haven't come around Bitcoin yet, and I actually think Bitcoin is an echo chamber where we hear a lot about it, but it's still a very small asset class. Gold is gigantic. It's trusted. Countries use it to settle trade, and so I do think gold is a very unique asset. It is the asset of trust, right? It is real money, and so as the past years, many of the gold traders, gold investors have been left out a little bit, right? The gold didn't really perform the way it does now recently, and I think some of that is, many gold investors, were confused why gold is not appreciating, and I think now the gold tokenization introduces a new way of owning gold. It makes sure that you actually own the underlying, and it creates a much needed transparency in the gold market. So I think it is fantastic for investors. We as Aurelion, we looked at many options to own gold, and we decided that Tether Gold is for us the best way, and we think this is the future of owning gold. We're a treasury company. We bought gold back then when it was at 4,000. We now own around $170 million of gold, and we're really looking at ourselves as like a asset manager for digital gold. As I said, this will be a very important asset class going forward, in our opinion, and as a strategic partner to the XAUT Tether Gold ecosystem as it is growing. We're building utility around it, we're building yield around it, and we're really kind of like, have this idea of stewardship of the gold we have and creating more adoption and utility.
And finally, Bjorn, before I let you go, I do want to ask you about Bitcoin. So if we look at the chart right now, it is holding right below 88,000, and year to date, it is nearly flat. So why is crypto slumping while precious metals such as gold, silver are seeing record highs?
So I've been tweeting about this for a while now, and I think it is exactly this echo chamber of Bitcoin, right? We think Bitcoin is much more adopted because we hear so much about it. We really don't hear a lot about gold, and this is why I was very excited to start Aurelion, because we need to talk more about gold. We need to be aware that gold is a much bigger asset as Bitcoin is. I'm a huge believer in Bitcoin, and I think in the long term we will see fantastic adoption of Bitcoin. But I think any exponential model that sees Bitcoin at 500,000 or 1 million very soon is probably wrong, right? There is a beautiful model that Bitcoin tracks very closely. It's called the power law. It has been, very well fitting the Bitcoin price adoption. Bitcoin is really a network. It grows as a network. It will take a long time for Bitcoin, I think maybe 10 years or longer, to close up to gold as an asset class. And so I think, while Bitcoin will go its way, while more users will join the network of Bitcoin, while it's a very hard asset and a beautiful store of value, I think gold is something that is there today. And because the debasement trade is there today and it is very real, I think gold will profit a lot from the debasement trade. And Bitcoin, for the moment, it's more comparable to a tech stock, right? It's also more the size of a tech stock. So I think this will change 10, 20 years down the line. But I think for the moment, if you really want to profit a lot from the debasement trade, you should not only own Bitcoin, you should definitely own gold as well.
Okay, Bjorn, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insights.
Thanks, Remy, for having me.